Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Healing Through Love show. I'm so excited that you could be with us today. And here are my colleagues. Hi, Ali. Hi, Rose.
Hey, hey.
It's fantastic, and it's lunchtime now, and it's time for the Healing Through Love show. Welcome to the Healing Through Love show, where we're here to increase awareness within the community about providing family and domestic violence survivors with a soft place to land.
We have many local businesses and service people who generously pay it forward at our Pamper Day events and providing their time and resources, and we certainly thank them for doing that.
So the Healing Through Love show, each week what we do is we interview experts and survivors who share their personal stories and their advice to those who have experienced abuse. So no matter where you are on your journey, there is always something here for you. Now, just before I hand over to Charlene to introduce today's wonderful guest, I would love to just put a reminder out there that we have our annual Pamper Day happening this year on the 22nd of May. We're all very excited about that. It is happening at 19 on Green Community Centre at Brompton, and it is being held between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. So if you would like more details on how you can either come as a guest or come as a business owner who is paying it forward, please feel free to go to our Healing Through Love Facebook page, which is scrolling along the bottom there. So I am now going to hand over to the beautiful Charlene.
Thank you, beautiful ladies. Thank you for being here. Ali and I will chat at the end, and Rose is going to be very busy with all of the behind-the-scenes activities. Guys, I'd like to introduce our amazing guest today. We have Nicky Manego. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nicky, about the spelling of your name. Is a successful speaker and women's coach, having overcome depression and chronic anxiety associated with post-traumatic stress disorder. Nicky truly understands the concept of starting over and rediscovering yourself. She has invented herself many times and has drawn from her own personal and professional experiences to bring a unique quality to her practice as a coach. She is kind and caring and inspirational, and I just love sitting down and having a cup of coffee with her. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Nicky. Hello, Nicky. How are you? And Nicky will be popping up on the screen. Hi, Nicky.
Hi, how are you? It's so lovely to be here. And hello to everyone who is joining us today.
Oh, it's so good to have you here. And Nicky, we so passionately want you to be living in South Australia so you can be joining us for our next Pamper Day. Alas, you're from Queensland, and that's okay because you've got some fun and exciting things happening up in that space. I'd love you to tell us a little bit more about you and your story, and then I've got some questions to ask.
Okay, absolutely. You did quite a good job with pronouncing my surname. Everybody struggles with it, but it is actually Manego. Yes, but it's okay. I've had all sorts of different pronunciations, so I just go with the flow now, and that's me with my life, actually going with the flow. So as you said, I've reinvented myself many, many times, and I think as women we all tend to do that anyway without even realizing. But as you mentioned in the intro, the low point in my life, it was overcoming the trauma that I experienced after witnessing and being the first on the scene at a very, very horrific fatal accident. And it isn't a trauma that perhaps some of your listeners and viewers are familiar with, but it was a trauma nonetheless, and something that really set my life in a spin. So for 6 months I was in denial, saying I'm okay, but I wasn't. Depression, chronic depression, anxiety was through the roof, panic attacks, and not just one a day. It was like several panic attacks every single day. I'd wake up in the middle of the night in a full-blown panic attack and just didn't realize or understand why, because at this stage I hadn't been diagnosed with any kind of trauma or any what's the word I'm looking for? Formal diagnosis. Yeah. And even when I did get the diagnosis of a post-traumatic stress disorder, I didn't know what it was. And PTSD, as a lot of people know it, is something that is very akin to any form of trauma, no matter what it is in your life. And at my lowest point, I was unable to get out of bed. I was in bed for days on end. Even the faces of my beautiful young children, oh dear, still gets me after all these years. Even the faces of my beautiful young children weren't enough to, just propel me or give me the will to get out of bed. So that was when I really knew that there was something drastically wrong, and I needed to get help. And this was quite a few years ago now, and there weren't the support systems back then that there are now. So I was basically just clutching at straws, trying to find some kind of support or some way of understanding what I was going through, why I was going through it. And of course, I went to the professionals, I went to psychiatrists and psychologists. I reached out to a couple of professional organisations, but alas, no assistance was forthcoming. So a lot of the skills and the techniques that I learnt to get myself back on track were through self-education and just, trial and error as well. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I do these days, to help women who wanting to make changes in their lives, to find their sense of purpose again, to rediscover who they are, what they want, what they love, what makes them happy, what they want to do, how they see their future, just all of those things. And I do that through a support network called the Queens of Reinvention, Women Changing Their Lives. And that's a space for women to find motivation, inspiration. They're able to network and connect with like-minded women who have reinvented themselves for varying reasons throughout their lives. So it's a very positive and supportive and very private and safe space as well.
And how do the girls get access to that? Is that something anyone can put their hand up for? Can we maybe have the details shared here so that
Yes.
reach out?
Yes, I believe that the link has been put into the chat.
Oh,
so
excellent.
it's the Queens of Reinvention. Just click on that link and go through and join the group.
Oh.
We would love to have you there because it's all about celebration of you and of life and positivity and giving you tips and tools to be able to move forward in your life.
Oh, I love that. That sounds fantastic. And, you've hit the nail on the head there, Nicky, when you're talking about, when you're in the middle of it all, sometimes you just can't see the forest for the trees. You're in the thick of it all, and one foot in front of the other just doesn't even seem to be an option because you can't even get your feet on the ground. So in your darkest space, before you saw the light and moved forward, is there anything that happened for you in that space that maybe you could help the girls that are still sitting in the darkness now, not even able to celebrate anything? Is there anything that you could help them with in that space that could help them maybe shine the light and move forward?
I had to reconnect with who I was as a person. So, as women, we often find ourselves fitting into the norms of society, whether we realize it or not. So, we tend to put the needs of others before our own, and we often lose focus of who we are as a person, what we love to do and what makes us happy, as I was saying before. So just making that reconnection with yourself. And I'm not talking about, when someone says, oh, so who are you? And you immediately jump into, oh, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a lawyer, I'm a shop assistant, whatever. They're all labels, and yes, they are part of who you are, but they're not truly who you are. So in that time, I found it very, very helpful to actually write things down on paper. I started journaling, something that I had never, ever done before. And journaling isn't about necessarily writing about specific topics. It can be just anything that comes into your head. And just that process of getting those thoughts out of your head and onto paper can be so helpful. because just seeing them in black and white, it actually it makes them more real, I think, and it makes it because it's more real, you are able to see that it is something tangible, something that you can actually work with. The other thing that I did was I started writing about who I was as a person. So the ladies you can just get a sheet of paper, and at the top of the paper write in big capital letters, I am. And then underneath, you just start writing all of the qualities that make you or express who you are as a person. So they can be, for me, myself, when people ask today, and it was really hard at first because I probably only had about 3 or 4, if that, words on the page. But now I have a list, and, now I write things, or I see myself as I am love, I am happiness, I am empathy, I am caring, I am sympathy, I'm friendly. All of those wonderful qualities that other people see in you that you or may not see yourself. So ladies, if you're getting stuck with this, ask someone close to you, a friend or a relative, and say to them, when you think of me, or what do you see? And they'll go, oh, well, you're this, you're that, you're loving, you're caring, you're a great friend, and take note of what they're saying and add these things to your list, because like I said before, quite often we don't see those special qualities that make us. We don't see them for ourselves. It's only when other people tell us. And sometimes they don't think to tell you because they go, oh, well, that's just who you are, And once you've got that list, put it on your bathroom mirror so that every morning when you're brushing your teeth, you can see it. And it's a reminder of who you are as a person. Put it on the fridge. Every time you go to the fridge, you see it there. And keep building on that list, and you will be absolutely amazed at how incredible a human being you really are. And just having those daily reminders, they start a shift in your thought processes as well. You will notice it may not happen straight away, but as you were saying before, it's those small steps, and it may just be slow steps. But then you start, when you see those things in front of you all of the time, or you'll think of the person that described you with that quality, those thought processes start to shift and change. And some of the negativity that's going on inside your head will be replaced with positivity. And that's when you start to see more light in the road ahead of you. And, you start to see hope. And you start to see that there is a pathway forward from the situation that you're in.
I love it, Nicky. I'm such an advocate of I am and the power behind I am. It's actually biblical, and I love that. It gets to the core of it. I love that. And so I've got a couple of questions. So probably the first one is, what are your thoughts in and around mirror work? And do you find them beneficial, especially in the early days, or is that something that you would leave to later on in the piece?
I believe that it is something, it's a technique that can be quite difficult. It can be something quite confronting. But I do believe that it is something that we can persevere with, and everybody will have a different experience with it. So mirror work, as you were saying, is basically you stand in front of yourself in front of the mirror, look at yourself, and you say the words, I love you. You look straight into your eyes and you say, I love you. Now, I know many women that I have worked with, they have struggled big time with this, because how often do you say to yourself, I love you, I really love you? You're quite happy to share those thoughts and feelings with other people, but you never think of sharing them with yourself. But mirror work is is such a valuable tool in the process of rediscovering who you are, learning to love yourself, overcoming any self-doubt that you have. Just talk to yourself. It's okay. It's not a sign of madness, I promise you. It's a very, very positive and effective tool to use in your journey. I will say it's a journey, because it is. Life is a journey.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you're going through, you may find that you take 10 steps forward and then 3 steps back, another step forward, 2 more back. But if you keep moving forward, that's the important thing in the process, to keep moving forward. And like, they don't have to be big strides, they can be small steps, like we said, but those small steps forward are steps in the right direction.
I love it. And that sort of leads me into my next question, is around, routine. So very early in on the piece, when things are all still very muddy and you haven't got any idea how you're going to get out of this situation, and you haven't managed to change your core identity so that you've got what it takes to make those steps forward, what's your thoughts in and around routine about these things, like, changing the way you're thinking about things, and mirror work and journaling? Would you say this is something that you need to do? Do you need to actually start it as a routine so that you hold yourself accountable for moving forward?
Absolutely. So any routine is basically a habit. We all have daily routines that we follow, whether, whether we leave it to the last minute to get out of bed and then race around the house madly trying to get ready to get to work on time. That's a habit that we've formed, whether we realize it or not. So just as even habits, when you're putting your makeup on, you may do it in a certain order. That's another habit. So, but you can always create new habits. You can always replace old habits with new habits. And that's where your mindset comes into play as well, that positive mindset. So also too, let's just on the positive mindset and habits and routines, just start by, if a negative thought comes into your head, try and start replacing it with a positive. So if, for instance, you say, cooking. I'm not very good at cooking. Just replace that with, well, I'm not the greatest cook, but if I keep practicing or keep working at it, it is going to get better. I am going to become a better cook. So that's a very basic thing. But it's just replacing the negative thought processes with positive thought processes. And you were talking about routine, getting up in the morning, like I said before, some people leave it to the last minute, just getting up maybe half an hour early and just sitting there and just thinking about all of the good things that are going on in your life. It's called practicing gratitude. And they can be small things. I'm thankful for my children. I'm thankful for the food in my belly. I'm thankful for having a roof over my head. Anything at all. It's practicing that gratitude. If you practice it every single morning when you first wake up, before your feet even hit the floor. And then, if you might like to do that by just sitting in your favorite chair, having a cup of tea.
I love it. I love it all, Nicky. You're firing them at us at lightning speed. And I love that every time someone comes up with something that doesn't support them, to wipe that away by saying something simple like cancel, sweep away, so that you're making that space for the positive affirmation. And I love what you said, just changing the language and, maybe saying, I'm not good at that yet. So that we're not putting a full stop on that, so that we can move forward and we can change those behaviors. I love it. And absolutely. I love the gratitude behavior as well. That's something that we can inculcate on a daily basis. And if you start with that, you're starting high and you're staying high. So I absolutely love that too, Nicky. I have a question in and around the length of the journey. So we get a lot of girls reaching out to us and saying, you know, this is how life's been for me for this length of time. And then they project that this is how long it's going to take them to move forward and get out of the situation. So, you know, they're painting that picture before they've even started their journey. You know, from having that situation happen where you got that post-traumatic and you weren't even diagnosed, so you didn't even know that's what was happening. You just had this not wanting to live anymore, and everything else was falling apart. Now, how long, I know how long's a piece of string, but how long did it take for you to go through the process so that you're, not to say where you are now, but to at least have moved forward? Because they all ask the same question.
It varies from person to person. I don't believe that you can really give anyone a definitive time frame, but I believe that if you, like, we often focus on the big picture. We often focus on that's where I want to be in this amount of time. And that is certainly very achievable. But sometimes when we keep focusing on the big picture, it can all start to feel a bit overwhelming. And then we start to procrastinate, and then we literally don't do anything, because then the anxiety and then the self-doubt, and then it's like it all starts imploding again. So I believe that, and this worked for me, I focused on small solutions first. So I'd say, okay, so just set yourself goals for the day, or set yourself goals for the week, and, you know, keep moving forward and creating those habits, and celebrate along the way as well. Just celebrate, give yourself a pat on the back, look at yourself in the mirror and go, oh my God, I love you so much, you did it. You know, and just telling yourself that. The mind is such a powerful thing. And, you know, you can tell yourself, it's so much easier to believe yourself when you're telling yourself negative stuff. Why do we find it so difficult to believe ourselves when we're telling ourselves positive stuff? And that comes back once again to changing your mindset, replacing those thought processes, and, you know, celebrating your wins, whether they be big or small. And I'm very much about putting things out to the universe as well these days. So part of my journey has been a spiritual journey as well. And you know what? As awful as that time was, I don't dwell there anymore. I do think about it, of course I do. But I actually think of it with a certain degree of gratitude, in that it taught me so many things. I met so many amazing people along that journey as well, some lifelong friends and colleagues. And I learned so many valuable lessons. Do I still have days where I'm a bit meh? Absolutely. That's part of being human, right? But I now have the tools and the experience to be able to move forward without dwelling. If I'm having a mad day, that's okay. If you're having an off day, it's okay. You know, if you want to veg in front of the TV, that's okay. But don't stay there for days on end. Just do what you got to do, and then go, right, come on. That, you know, positive self-talk, get yourself moving again. And this is something really simple that people can do. And I love this, because people go, oh, you know, when you're not feeling the best, and your whole body is like, you kind of tend to slump over a bit. You don't stand up straight. Your head is a little bit bowed. You tend not to smile as much. This is something that we can all do. Stand up nice and straight, chest out, ladies, shoulders back. You've got this. And smile. Smiling is one of the most wonderful things you can do, because not only does it lift your whole mood, but it also helps lift the mood of others as well. And it has like it's like sneezing. You know, somebody starts sneezing, everyone starts sneezing. But if you start smiling, it has a ripple effect as well. And the health benefits to just that little simple thing are just incredible.
I love it. I love it, Nikki. It's so true. We are emotional beings, and emotions are simply energy in motion, and we can change our physiology. We can change our state of mind. Absolute advocate of that. It's been fantastic chatting with you today. And I understand in our pre-event, we had a conversation that you've got clarity calls that you're actually prepared to give away today to our beautiful listeners. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that clarity call is about?
Absolutely. So it's a free 30-minute clarity call with me. It's via Zoom, and there is a link. All the ladies have to do is follow the link and book in a time. And it's all about, during those clarity calls, we discuss what's going on in your life, what are some of the changes that you want to make. It's all about you. We discuss some ways that or some tools that you can implement to make those changes. So it's all about what you want, that clarity. It's about transformation, getting you to step out of your comfort zone, and then also acceptance, encouraging you to embrace new ways of thinking and new ways of doing things, because your future is in your hands, and you really, really, really need to live life on your terms, ladies, because it's all about you.
I love it, Nikki. It's been a privilege and a pleasure to spend quality time with you. As I said, I wish you were in Adelaide so that you could come to our next
Me too.
And so, girls, just don't forget to follow up and click on the link so that you can book that clarity call and get some clarity about where it is that you want to be and what you want to do, and work with that space of self-compassion. Nikki, thank you so much for your time, effort, and energy now today. Thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Nikki.
Bye.
Bye, Nikki. And we'd like to welcome back our other assistants. Here we've got Ali and Rose, and we want to talk to you a little bit more about our amazing, hi guys. Isn't Nikki wonderful? She's fabulous. We love it. So we want to talk a little bit more about our Pamper Day. So if you've listened today and you are a lady who is surviving the process of family and domestic violence, come as our special guest. Let us love on you. Let us pamper you. Let us give you the world, and it's all for free. So if you're in that situation, if you have a friend or a family member that's in that situation, please share the love. It's easy to register. It's a free event, and it is for women who have survived family and domestic violence, either in the past, currently going through it, or any shade in between of that. Now, if you're an exhibitor, we would love to have your participation. Ali, can you tell us a little bit more about the exhibitors and what we're going to be doing in that space? Oh, Ali, I can't hear you.
Oh, now, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah, no, this is, I get very excited. Oh, I've gone all blurry. There we go. I get very excited because I know that we've got spots available for all different types of exhibitors. So if you might do access bars, you might do massage, hand massages, you do makeup, anything really that is in the space of pampering these ladies. That is the type of exhibitor that we were looking after. So in your business, if you would like to come and pay it forward to the beautiful guests that come into our space on the Pamper Day, we would absolutely love to hear from you. So, and the way you can get in contact with us is via our email, which is scrolling across the bottom, htladelaide@gmail.com.
And also our Facebook group too. Guys, I'm sure you're aware that when you make a difference for somebody else, it gives you a serotonin hit. It literally gives your brain a feel-good drug. The difference that you make for a person when you step into this space where you pay it forward not only makes a difference in your life, it makes a lifelong difference for them. You can change the way a person sees themselves, and they will become advocates for your business. I know, right? Think about the money, time, and effort you spend in the advertising space. Imagine 50 advocates for your business. That's what we're offering in this space, guys, an opportunity to pay it forward, feel good, and make a difference. And, lift your brand so they can see that, you're a brand that cares and that you want to make a difference in this space. Domestic violence is rife in South Australia, as it is all over the world. And right now, just sliding out of COVID as we are, there's really been a light shone in this situation, and we would love your business to help make a difference in this space. Guys, do we have anything else we need to add before we go today?
Yeah, I think just following on what you said, a good social footprint left by any business in any of the spaces is, it's got to be of benefit not only to the business but to the world. It's so we can make the world a better place, because it needs people like us to help make it shine better.
So true. And that's from all of us today for our lunchtime get together. Come and join us next week at the Healing Through Love show. It's bye from Ali, bye from me, and bye from Rose. Guys, we love you. Bless.
Bye, everybody.